All right, guys. Round one's here. It's an exciting time of the year. And obviously the weekend just been was a very exciting time for us all. So set to go. So we've got a few things to run through tonight. Happy to answer any questions, talk through any issues that you want to raise. But first thing on my list is to announce a debut in Division 1 this week, field umpire. It's a guy that has dedicated himself more than anyone else on the panel. Drives a long way to training and games each week. His performances have been really good. He's surprised me right from the word go, and very coachable. I know he'll do a good job. So, and I saw he's online. So well done to Grantley Byrne, who'll be running his first Div 1 game this week. So well done, Grantley. And umpiring the St. Peter's and PAC match will be a big game. But as I said to you on the phone today, Grantley, just go out and do what you're doing. Don't umpire any different. So well done to Grantley. All right, so some reminders. Yeah, cheers, mate. Well done. So just some reminders. I know I've been through all this before, but it doesn't hurt to just remind you all that we're going to send out appointments tomorrow and Tuesday at 3:30. Make sure you accept by the end of Tuesday, otherwise they'll be on your back. Hopefully you've all been able to, or have plans to, gone to the sports centre, which is at now 745 Port Road. Need to purchase the new shirt with the CMAX logo. By the way, I've been told that the shirts are a little smaller than the previous one, so you might need to get a size up from what you're used to. Maybe just try them on while you're there. Wouldn't be a bad idea to look at the umpires manual and or watch the interpretations video again this week in leading up to the first game. Make sure you arrive at the ground 45 minutes before start time. And if you are running late, to contact the other umpire by phone, not a text message. Make sure you ring them. An absolute must, all field umpires must meet both coaches. Even if you're running late, you've got to make the effort. Please don't, I don't want to get any phone calls saying you didn't meet the coaches. Don't leave any valuables in the change rooms. I don't want to get any messages that you've lost anything. So keys, wallets, leave it in the car if you're comfortable with that, or maybe a better idea is to give it to team manager or someone behind the kiosk, or just put it in a safe place, but don't leave it in your bags. Phones as well, don't leave phones in your bags because they tend to go missing. And when we get into the game, obviously important that we start well, so set the game up in the first 10 minutes. Players are going to be excited, just the whole vibe of footy in the state after gather round, everyone's up and about, and we're going to make sure that we don't get overawed or overexcited. Just go out, stay composed, do the job, but really concentrate on their first 10 minutes to set the game up. And we want to make sure that the players are focusing on the ball from the start. I want to just mention about the 3 umpire system in Division 1, which the intention was to run a couple of games each week with that. We won't be doing that this week for a couple of reasons. Main one is we've got over 40 field umpires unavailable this week. I think we've got a few away on holidays, school holidays. We've got the live golf. Maybe there's some going to that. There's obviously some injuries and sickness, but I am short this week, so we will only be doing 2 umpire system in Div 1. And just on that point, if anyone normally only does 1 game but is prepared to do 2 games this week, if they could let me know, that would be great. I don't like doing it, but because of the numbers this week, I'm going to have a few guys do 2 games in a row. I tend to kind of like give you a bit of a break in between each game, but just we're a bit like we were last year when it was COVID hitting. We just had we had to improvise to make sure we filled all the games, and that's going to happen again this week. I will send out the 3K time trial updated sheet. We had 3 guys run around last Wednesday, so if you're interested in checking out what those times are, that will be sent out with the email. And the last point about training this week, Umpires Association are having an annual general meeting, and in between the end of training and the AGM, they're going to provide a free barbecue. So free barbecue this week, lead up round 1, which is great. You can also buy drinks at pretty good prices, $2 for a soft drink and $5 for a beer. So that's on this Wednesday night. So even if you don't like running or exercise, it's worth coming out this Wednesday night. Put yourself through a little bit of exercise and then have a free feed and a drink. All right, before I get on to the coaching video, any questions or comments on any of that or anything you saw over the weekend? Normally I get someone say something. No? I'm sure after round 1 we'll get some for next Monday night. So hopefully most of you have been able to check out the coaching video. So that will be, the link will be posted on the website by Monday morning, probably sooner than that. Last week I was able to finalise all the year's coaching sessions, and as I've been saying, instead of using the sample vision this year, we're going to use the vision that I've got from our games going through the grand finals from last year. So there's some good stuff there. And so let me just see about getting this one up. All right. Okay. Barry, give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Can you hear me, Barry? Adrian? Oh, yep, Betty. Okay, you can see that. Cool. All right. So you'll see the format is very similar to what it was with Shane Harris's videos. And start off with some what's your decisions. I've got 3 what's your decisions before we start looking at the vision on the topic of the week. This week's topic is set kick control. So let's do the what's your decisions to start with. So let's have a look online. I'll see if I can see if Nathan, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, mate.
Have you had a chance to watch the video yet?
No, I haven't.
All right. See how you go with watching it on here. See if you can get the first decision. Tell us what you would do. This is from the Div 3 grand final from last year. And with the what's your decisions, you aren't always going to have the umpire do the right thing. But from what you saw there, Nathan, what would you do?
Yeah, look, it just sort of cut out a bit sketchy towards the end, but potentially he wasn't in the marking contest, and therefore was a 25-metre penalty.
Yep. So I guess the decision to pay, so that there was almost a tunnelling from the player behind. The decision was the mark taken and then the second act. So if you believe the free kick occurred before the mark was taken, you just pay the free kick from there. In that case, Jason, and I agree with him, thought that the mark was taken and then the tunnelling action occurred. What I'd say is if you're in any doubt, should you pay the 25 or not, just pay the 25. You're better to make it clear that, that the action that occurred wasn't acceptable, because it's only 25. It's not the biggest penalty in the world. So if you're not sure, just pay the 25. But if you're 100% certain that the free kick occurred before the mark was taken, then there's no need for 25.
Yep.
All right, Marek, you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, got you, Carl.
All right, go on, mate. Second one. This one's from the Div 5 grand final. All right. What you calling that one?
But it looks to me as if they were both going for the freeze. Someone's taken a mark. Incidental contact.
Sorry, you're cutting out a bit there. Just say that again. Have you got the kids in the background? Hey, mate, I might get you another time, but just mute yourself. Gory, you want to come on and give us your thoughts? No, you got to unmute yourself, mate.
Never worked with children and animals. I reckon he barreled him after he took his marks. I would have paid 25.
Yeah. So again, a bit like the first one, the question is, was there a mark taken before the incident occurred, or you can I guess look at it. We're both going for the ball and contact at the same time. I'm with you, Gory. The contact was late. Even don't read too much into injuries. Looked like both players were down and out there. Just because the guy that came in late knocked himself out doesn't mean it's not a free kick. You actually see Richard Williams tapping his arm to indicate he's going to pay 25, but a bit hard to bring back the player in the mark when he's knocked out cold. But yeah, the guy came in late and worthy of paying a free kick. And if you thought it was worthy of a yellow card, I wouldn't be against that in that scenario. But if it's just a 25, that's fine as well. All right, Matt Harris. I'll give you the tough one. Have you watched it yet?
No, I haven't watched it. I'll give it a crack though.
All right. All right. What do you reckon?
So he's gained possession, slipping in the mud. Could he have handballed it? Possibly. Did he make a genuine attempt during the tackle? Probably not. So holding the ball.
Okay. So if I'm assessing this game and someone decides that there's no pro opportunity, which I don't think there is, and he is making a genuine attempt, that ball up, I'd mark it right. If, like Rashi did, I'm sure his thinking was he hasn't had a pro opportunity, but he hasn't made a genuine attempt, just like you're saying, Matt, and he plays holding the ball, I'd mark that right as well. So from an assessing point of view, it's one of those 50-50 calls that you're not going to get wrong, because our game has these grey areas. They're not always going to be real obvious. And if we're looking for a philosophy on how we operate these days, if you're in any doubt, you're 50-50 for holding the balls, pay the holding the ball.
Team rule, pay the holding ball.
That's right. If it was me in that scenario, I would have said he hasn't got a pro opportunity, and it's a bit hard to make much of a genuine attempt when you're stuck in the mud like that. I would have been quite happy. For me personally, from that angle, and it's a different angle from where Rashi is, I probably would have balled it up. But I'm not saying that holding the ball is wrong. Any questions on that? That's a really interesting scenario. It brought up a bit of a philosophy on it. But sometimes, I assessed 30 grand finals last year, so I got used to what I was looking for. There are sometimes I'm going to back the umpire no matter what he does. But when we're going out this week and you're in a similar scenario, holding the ball or not, I'd say pay holding the ball. Howard, you got a question?
Yeah, Colin, I just wondered, was there a 25 metre paid for the opposition player in the protected zone after he gave the free kick?
I don't know, because I only coded, or for that particular decision, the holding the ball. Let's go back and look at it, because I actually did caught my eye just before too. So I would say he's backing out. He's making an attempt to get out. The player with the ball is looking for the 25. He hasn't really interrupted play. I think you'd be pretty tough to pay that. I prefer that one. You can use your voice to tell him to get out. As long as he makes an effort, like I think he is, you can let that one go. We don't want to be too technical with the protected zone. Make sense? All right, so let's get on to some vision from control set kick. And certainly, as a field umpire, you've got lots of things to worry about. You know, you're worried about positioning, handovers, decision making, communication. But you know, right at the top of the list on what you need to get right in a day to have a good performance is control set kick. So if you can take some of this into your games this week, it will certainly help you out. So Mark, you want to let us know what you think here, Mark Goods? All right, what did you see there, mate?
Mine's breaking up, but I don't want to bail out on it. But my
no worries.
picture's not good for me. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Look, I can run through some of these examples. And I know it's our first one for the year, so I don't expect you all to be in the habit of it. But if you guys can get in the habit each week of looking for what the coaching video, the link will be on the website. If you can watch it, it'll be 6 or 7 minutes worth of footage each week. And I'll try and get up early. So I'll say by Monday morning at the latest, but I'll probably have it up late Friday. So you've got over the weekend to look at it. Then you don't have this excuse. So I'll let you off tonight. But when you are watching the Zoom, sometimes it doesn't come through. So if you guys aren't seeing this footage that well tonight on the Zoom, there is a separate link for the coaching video that I'd like you to have a look at later on. So let me run through some of this stuff. So with this one here, is a free kick paid, just like there was in the last, well, just in the last example, there was a hole in the ball paid. It was actually Grantley that did it. And he was aware of what was happening around the set kick, and the player came through and basically pushed the other guy to the ground. It was a good pickup, as it said on the caption, take no shit. With this one here, free kick paid. Turn it straight over. And the player puts the ball on the ground. So the player has to return the ball on the full. Not to a different player, not to the umpire. So yeah, just make sure that we're on top of that. I think there was one paid in the Crows game last Thursday night. And yeah, you might say they're unlucky, but don't go soft on the player. Their responsibility is to be aware who it's being returned to. And if they pass it to the player that wasn't meant to get the free kick, well, that's just wasting time. All right, this one here. So mark clearly taken, drag to the ground. You really want to stamp on that and make sure that they're really not going to get away with that. All right, so here's a good example. I reckon it's Jason doing the set kick control. So just want to point out a few things about what he does here. So one out, one back. I don't want you standing right alongside the mark. You want to be just behind the player with the on the mark. You want to be standing there until the player with the ball gets to the top of his mark. You want to be communicating with players either side of the mark to get them out of the zone. Make sure they're on their line. Have your vision on the player with the ball the whole time in this scenario. Shouldn't be looking or marking the ground. Shouldn't be looking at the player in the mark. You can have it in the corner eye, but that was a really good example of what you need to do. Once they're set up, once they're at the top of the mark, then you can back out like Jason did there. All right, so being assertive with what you want, really important skill in set kick control. You need to be really clear with what you want the players to do. Not using your whistle, but using your voice. So here, Bill runs in. He's telling the player to move back, telling him to move back 10 metres, being really clear about it. Clear with the player lining up on the angle. Once he's happy with that, backs out, still communicating with the players. That was really, really well done. And this one here, Shane has in his mind who was closest to the ball when it went out, the last possession, and really clear with which player needs to take the kick, and then sets the player on the mark equal with the top of the kickoff line, the zone. So it's all communication. It's all telling the players what you want. This one here, don't really like the whistle being used, but at the same time, Steve does a good job in getting the player out of bounds where he wasn't going to be. He needs to go over the line before he has his kick. So all communication, all presence being there, working as a team. So in these scenarios, we use the tap to switch, and this is what I like to see, where the mark's taken or free kick's given close to the 50-meter line. If it's inside the 50, I want that umpire that's paid the mark to run to the set kick and tap the other umpire through. So most of the guys do that really well now in the higher levels. This one here, it's out of bounds. Shouldn't have to look around to see where the other umpire is. You're automatically tapping them through. Tap them through so they can go in, so they can go down, and you can go in and organise a set kick control. And similar to the one before, marks about 40 metres out. Go in. So Manuel going in to do the set kick, taps the other umpire through, who you'll see come down now, and they're going down now to watch the goal square. Being about 25 metres out, don't need to go too deep. And if you are tapping or handing over, make sure you do it really clear. Don't look around at the other umpire to see where they are. You should know if it's a big long kick towards the other umpire, it's a handover. If it's a kick out wide like this one is here, decide early and tap and make it really clear that you're going to keep control. For those of you who've been umpire a long time, it's fairly basic stuff, but it's really important we get it right to get that set kick control right. If there's a need to be there, get in urgently, have a presence. So in this scenario here, you can see that there's a bit of feeling, some push and shove. There's a free kick that's, or 25 that's paid. Dennis can see that it's potentially getting a bit of hand, moves towards him, uses the melee roll to blow his whistle, communicates, then makes it clear he's going to pay the 25. So it was really well done. You don't want to switch off. You always want to be aware of what's happening. In the scenario here, so hold the ball paid, and like I was talking about before, player with the ball gives it back to the umpire. Just don't tolerate it. He might have been well-intentioned, but he also might have been trying to waste time. At the end of the day, it's his responsibility to give it back to the player who's taking the free kick on the full. With your communication, make it strong and assertive. So in here, Matt's saying something he doesn't like. There's a bit of push and shove. Don't need to go overboard. Just make your point. In that scenario there, he's going to have the kick, but he's just giving him a bit of a warning. Doesn't hurt to hold him up a little bit so he can't play on and take advantage. If he's done something slightly wrong, which is not worth reversing, just make sure he's aware that he hasn't done the right thing. In this case here, I think it's Willow. No, it's Croz. Croz is getting in. You can see there's a bit of push and shove. Just by being there, being really clear with the players that they need to focus on the ball. There's no need for free kick. He's just being able to control it with his voice. And that's the video. Good control and set kick situations make for a good umpiring performance. Any questions or comments on any of that stuff? All right. So hopefully you enjoy watching the local videos rather than watching sample umpires. Yeah, I've got a little bit overboard, as I tend to do. I've got 18 different coaching videos. We might not get through them all, but I had so much footage that I put a fair bit together. And there's some really good examples there for us to talk about as we go along. Different topics. And yeah, if we could get into the habit of looking at it before we start the Zoom, that'd be great. All right. That's all I have on my list. Does anyone else want to raise anything else before we wind up?
Yeah, Rob here. Thanks for popping my photo on the front of the umpires manual for 2023.
Hey, you're a star, mate. You're a star.
Good on you.
Nah, all good. All good. You're the pin-up boy after last year, coming back from what you're at 3, mate. So, all right. I think we might have bigger issues to talk about next week. So look, it's an exciting time of the year. Make sure you enjoy round 1. It's great to be back. As I said, if you don't normally do 2 games and you'd like to do 2 games, shoot me an email tonight because it would be handy. But I also understand some of you can only do the one and only want to do one. I'm cool with that as well. We'll find a way to make it work, and we'll get there. For those of you umpiring this week, which is most of you, yeah, put your best foot forward, and hopefully to see most of you this Wednesday night for a training session and a barbecue. Cheers, guys.